Good evening, everybody, and welcome along to One Hub Racing Season 26, the first round of the P1 tier. We just had a fantastic race in the P2 tier, and I'm really excited to announce that we got 12 great races in the pinnacle of One Hub Racing. We are at Imola today, and it's going to be great. My name is Jess Ball, the head of comms at One Hub Racing and the co-owner, of course. But joining me in the commentary box, because someone is too fast to join me this season, he's actually racing, I've got someone brand new, not brand new to commentary in general, but brand new to One Hub Racing in general in the commentary box, and he can bring his racing experience with me as well. Please welcome Jacob to the commentary box. Jack, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm all good. Thank you very much, Jess, for that introduction. Racing in One Hub for the past couple of seasons now, I thought I'll give everybody else a little bit of a chance of coming out on top, and thought I'd jump in the commentary box for a change instead. And I'm looking forward to seeing how this season's going to go down. As you say, 12 great races throughout the season, and what better way to start off than a very classic track of Imola?
Yes, indeed. Imola is where we're going to be this week. And of course, we've got Jeddah next week. God help all the drivers that are going to be racing that. And then we've got our first sprint race in Qatar. Then we got the Netherlands, Las Vegas, Australia, China, Japan, Bahrain, Abu Dhabi, Miami, and Belgium. Really, really interesting calendar. What can you see from this calendar this season?
Those sprint races, I think they're going to be the tell. The Qatar, Las Vegas, and China as the sprints are they're so different in comparison to each other. So seeing how all three of those are going to go down throughout the season, I think, in my opinion, whoever comes out on top of at least maybe two of the three of them, I think, in my opinion, has got a good shot of coming out on top of the championship for this season.
Yeah, I agree. I think the sprint races, the drivers actually voted on the sprint races, and they've chosen some good ones. I don't know why people decided on the hill to go for Las Vegas, but Las Vegas is always a lot of fun for commentators, at least. But we may as well go through our drivers, and we got a really strong lineup, half returning drivers and half new drivers. So in the Red Bull, we've got Axelot and Kieran. Casper and Senna are in the Mercedes. Casper will be making his debut on the PC. We'll touch on that just a little bit later on because we both have experience on jumping platforms. Nick and Lukey, the Sweats, are in the Ferrari. Then we got Oshin making his return to One Hub Racing in the McLaren with Malvin. We've got a very strong lineup with Lakita and Craggy in the Aston Martin. I'm predicting they're going to do very well this season. Then we got Jason, a returning driver, alongside Barrett in the Alpine. We got Entity and a new driver of, I can't pronounce his name, so I'm going to say Marco in the Williams. Then we got the Welsh duo, my co-com partner from last season, Mike and Callum. Then we got M125, last season's runner-up in P2 tier, who got them jumped to P1 in the Sauber with Curry. And then we got Jones, returning driver in the Haas, along with Escargot Sim. So those are your 20 drivers racing with us this season. And for this first race, you made some predictions going into this season, and it was some very interesting ones. Who do you think is going to do well out of all our 20 drivers here?
Well, I reckon, as you say, Marco, I think he proved it in qualifying night, coming out on top of pretty much everyone, and even beating Tony's time from last season in qualifying night. I think, you can't look past that whatsoever. I know qualifying pace and race pace can alter between the two, but yeah, I think you can't really go wrong with how he's going to do throughout this season. I think he's definitely one we need to keep our eye out for. Entity and Casper both shocked me as well. Very quick in quali pace. Again, I know what they are both capable of. Again, racing against them last season, and yeah, I think they could be pretty good throughout this season. I put Key as a bit of an underdog for this season. Again, I think he has got quite a good balance of both race pace and quali pace. He just needs to, I think, get a bit more consistent within his race pace, and then I think he can definitely be within shouts of podiums, maybe even potentially trying to fight for that championship for this season. But yeah, I think Marco is probably the one that you need to look out for this season. And I have also said that I've made a few different early predictions. One of them being Nick and Lukey to sweat out the game for the next month and a half. So
they have been sweating today, to be fair. So have I, to be fair. So I can't really argue. I'm probably the bigger sweat than they are. But there we go. So I made some predictions as well. I'm predicting, I think, the Aston Martins are going to potentially do well this season with Lakita and Craggy. Of course, Lakita's done very well in Imola the last few times he was here. Of course, who remembers the infamous season 19 when he was leading the safety car restart, and then all hell broke loose behind him, and it was crazy. But he did quite well, and now of course Marco will do quite well. And I'm expecting big things from the Red Bull duo as well. I think they've been practicing quite well, so I'm expecting some good stuff. But without further ado, let's get straight to the racing action. Let's look at the track. This is the track the drivers are going to be racing on today. 32 laps away our drivers, 19 corners, 10 to the left and 9 to the right. We've got one DRS zone, which is just after the final corner. And the last few race winners we've got is Timo, who won his first race on PC, and of course Senna, who won in the P2 tier quite dominantly. So expect those two to be fighting quite well for the race victory. So without further ado, it is quality time. 18 minutes await our drivers, and it is currently Senna, surprise, surprise, who's on pole position.
Yeah, looking pretty good. Early on is the Mercedes driver, both Mercedes actually, both Senna and Casper sitting in first and third. Good old M125 CCM. I don't know if there's a shortened version of that. But,
I call him M125.
In the kick salver. M125, we'll go with that. Just watching as they have just started their lap in the kick salver, making his way up towards the end of the first sector. 1 minute 30.6, of course, isn't going to be something that's really a banker lap for himself. 9 seconds up on his time. And purple sector 1, apparently. I don't know how the game has managed to figure that one out, as Casper putting out his teammate on top. A Mercedes 1-2 so far. I feel like we're going back towards 2020 at this point, but we'll see if they are still able to stay up on top. Again, Marco, my predictions, sitting in P3 at the moment. Reasonably close to the top 4. And then, yeah, we'll see if more improvements are coming through. As I say, Axelock up into 5th.
Yeah, Axelock, I would have to say, was definitely one of the big improvements from last season. Of course, jumping up from the P2 tier a couple of seasons ago, and he managed to finish in 3rd place, just about over Lukey, and with his Red Bull compatriot Kieran in 4th. That is very impressive for them. The drivers have been very busy in the press interviews in the last couple of days with our media days that we do in One Hub Racing, and we always like to pick quite a few drivers that will like to come and talk to us a little bit. Of course, we've got the drivers' press conference as well. Here comes Marco, by the way, going towards the final corner. Nope, he's going into the pits. Never mind. So he's not going to finish his lap time. And quite a few people had a pretty long off season. Their first time playing F1 since we last came to One Hub Racing in December. So for most people, it's been a long break, and they just got to adapt to the handling a lot more again because they haven't been playing F1 for like 6 or 7 weeks.
Yeah, I'm one of them. I'm not going to lie. I'll be completely transparent. The game is awful. That's why I'm doing comms this season. I'll be honest with you, but obviously everybody else is managing to carry it on, and it's great to see it. I mean, like you say, a full lobby as well to start off the season. So it's very good to see between everybody. And yeah, I say, few returning faces, few new faces. I think there's going to be a good season to come, despite the atrocities of this game. But yeah, few people are making their way into the pits. Few people out on outlaps. I'm watching the Irishman of Oshin as he has a nice little spin up to turn number 2.
First commentator's curse. Oh, we reset to track. That is not allowed, my friend. You're not allowed to reset to track. Well, I've caught that, and I'm going to be sending that directly to the stewards a little bit later on, but unless it's my game playing porcupines. I don't know at this point. Speaking of Oshin, he felt like he could have won the P2 championship in his last season, but he's ready to go a step further into racing with us as well. And he likes being with his teammate Malvin because it goes way back. They were blood brothers, according to each other, and they're having a bit of banter. He's not the highest IQ driver, but he will have to do. Whereas Malvin said, somewhat competent driver, very inconsistent. So they're already going for each other, and it's not even round 1, Jack.
Oh, good up bit of banter, eh? It really is. Senna, wow, okay. He's just put everything out on the table there. 1 minute 13.6, the first one into the 13s. Nearly 4 tenths of a second up ahead of Casper. What a lap time that is for Senna. And yeah, like I say, he's put absolutely everything out on the table. Yeah, like you said, the two teammates going at it, Malvern and Oshin, I think is going to be a very good pairing to watch. I guarantee they will probably be very good teammates to each other as well. You know, they won't try and hold each other up. They'll do whatever they can to move their way up the pecking order, because they probably think they're not the fastest, but they will do what they can to try and get themselves up in that pecking order and put themselves in some sort of contention for that. But yeah, qualifying so far reasonably close within the midfield. The top lot though, again, Senna just in a class of his own at the moment.
And it helps that he's got his teammate alongside. But even then, it's about a 4-5 tenths gap, which I have to say is absolutely insane. Senna is my pick for pole position. It's always been my pick for pole position since we started practicing for Imola this week. He even set a 1:14 on mediums the other day, which makes me feel embarrassed, as though she's found quite a bit of time in the middle sector as he goes through Variante Alta. I think one of the trickiest chicanes on the F1 24 game, I like to say. He's heading through. Oh, and he's invalidated. Never mind. That's the second commentator's curse of the evening. Anybody else on a lap? I think it's one of the Kick Saubers on a lap. That is Curry, one of our newest drivers to One Up Racing. He was debating whether to race due to his leg, but luckily he is racing with us, which is great news. He goes up to the line and he goes P11 with a 1:14.9, closely followed by his teammate.
Yeah, both the Saubers very, very close with each other. M125 and Curry. They say Curry, new driver. I think him and Moikoli both from Finland as well. I'm surprised they didn't actually go as teammates, but yeah, very close between the two Kick Saubers between each other. So looking forward to seeing how that pairing is going to go throughout this season as well. Yeah, 3 other drivers still not yet to do a lap time. Either Spin Mike has probably already spun once, which is why he hasn't done a lap time as of yet. Jason is back, only driver on the Xbox platform in the P1 tier, so nice to see that we've got actually a range of platforms throughout One Hub P1 tier this season. And then the returning German in the Aston Martin. Didn't think it was already 2022 once again, but Nikito back in P1, yet to do a lap time at this moment, and hopefully we'll see him out on track very, very soon, especially with just under 4 minutes left to go of the first qualifying session of the season.
I think one thing to mention about this track is just so easy to invalidate. You could be in a very good position to win this race or even get a podium, or even points if you're only aiming for points, if you limit the amount of penalties you get. And we're seeing exactly the same in qualifying. People are just struggling to get their laps in. Melvin, you're running on board now. He has invalidated his run, and he's going to have to dive it into the pit lane. Craggy then goes towards the Variante Alta now, and he's going to try and see if he can find some time on the board. By the way, lap time set last time in One Hub Racing P1. I don't know what the quali time is. All I know is the race time, but we know that it is very, very fast. Craggy has invalidated. Never mind. So we are at the calm before the storm. We will go through the rest of the pre-race interviews, I would say, probably during the interlude when we have the lobby restart, because I think qualifying is more important. Everyone else is going to dive it into the pits. No, Craggy's going to go again. I'm surprised. He doesn't have much time left, but fair enough. He's only got 2 minutes 30 left. Sometimes maybe an out lap, then a flying lap again will be better on the tyres.
Yeah, so it'd be Craggy and Escargot will be the first two to finish their final laps. I don't think they'll be able to get in the pits, get themselves another fresh set of sauce and get back out on track. So they're probably going to keep a set for the actual race. Oh no, they can't keep a set. It's good. Lobby restart. Don't know what I'm on about. Yeah, so Craggy going through the first sector, the 10th and a half up on his time so far. At the moment, equal time to Entity, who I actually said is pretty good in qualifying, sitting down in P9. It's a little bit of a disappointment, in my opinion, for Entity at the moment. But again, he's still got one more lap to do. And in fact,
Same
I
lap
think
time.
He's just started his lap as well. Yeah, so we'll see what Entity can do at the end of his lap. But as Craggy makes his way up Variante Alta, up towards the end of the second sector in that Aston Martin, nearly 5 tenths up on his time. So making his way through the chicane, very easy to invalidate through there, but takes it very nicely on the exit, keeping it in hot lap. Only 15% of battery left. Might end up derating as he makes his way up towards the final 2 corners of the circuit. Is he going to be able to get the best run as much as possible, keeping it nice and tight through there? with DRS now wide open, putting overtake on to try and get as much as he can up towards the line, up to P4 with a 114.075, and getting given a nice slipstream to one of the Mercs behind him as well.
That was very impressive from Craggy. I have to say, Craggy was one of those unknowns going into last season. He joined midway through the season, so we didn't get to see his pretty much qualifying night pace, but the amount of pace he showed last season was astonishing, and he was one of my picks for the title as well, due to that consistency that he had. I believe he only had 1 or 2 poles last season, and I was expecting a little bit more from him in terms of qualifying, but it just shows that he has the pace and he can go up there against the best in 5th place. Entity, that's more like it, Sunshine. He slots himself into P2, a few attempts shy of Senna. Marco's in 3rd, but he's on an outlap right now. There's a lot of traffic, Jack, going through the final sector. I wouldn't want to be those drivers who are about to start a lap, because there's a few people that are going to get compromised.
Yeah, people are going to trip up over each other. People are going to be blocking each other going through that as well. I just saw Casper had invalidated on his final lap, so he might be just trying to gear up to go again. In fact, he's just making his way around the final corner now and has to start right behind one of the Alpines. In fact, coming into the pits is the Finn, so he's now going to be done for his qualifying. 4th is the best he's going to get. But I think the first one that's going to be coming across the line, as I've been Mike, unfortunately, is going to be starting at the very back of the grid with having invalidation. So either spin Mike, I mean, if he spins down in 20th, he's not losing any positions whatsoever, and I'm sure he does not mind that whatsoever. But he's going to hope that a few other people do decide to have an either spin Mike up in front of him. Who is going to be the first one across the line is looking like it's actually going to be our pole sitter so far of Senna, up towards the line. It's 113.621, extending his lead ever so much more up ahead of the 2 Williams. Entity comes his way into the pits. Moikali as well, just making his way up through Variante Alta with a few other cars in front of him, trying to get out of the way, but also trying to do the fastest lap time as possible. 300ths down on his time as the Finn has a massive tank slapper and goes off the track. That's his qualifying done. 3rd position will be the best he gets. And Axel's also invalidated on his lap time as well.
Yeah, quite a few invalidations. I think we got the 2 Ferraris that just finished their runs, P10 and P11 respectively, so they are starting at similar places on the grid. Lakitu, welcome back to the P1 tier, Sunshine. You are in P2 on the grid, not that far behind Senna. Who else is finishing a lap? Kieran has invalidated. Jason has invalidated as well. It's hard to keep up with these lap times there, but it is Senna who won last time out we were here in Imola in the P2 tier. He's just got pole in the P1 tier by less than about 0.2 of a second. Look at that top 4 spread as well. It's going to be insanely close between the top 5, maybe even top 6. I was expecting P1 to have like a few guys in front and then the rest fall behind. It's all relatively close, just like we saw in P2 earlier on this evening.
Yeah, I mean, not even just that, it's the top 9. Oshin also slotting in with an earlier lap, a 114.1, just behind Calamananda as well. So, yeah, very good lap time from the McLaren. And, of course, the results are showing here. Senna, 1st pole position of the season for the P1 tier, with Lakitu lining up alongside him. Very well done to Lakitu on his return into One Hub. Entity in 3rd with Marco in 4th. Casper in 5th with Craggy in 6th. Axel 7th with Calamananda in 8th. Oshin in 9th with Keys running out top 10. Lukey in 11th with Nick lining up alongside him. The 2 Ferraris in 11th and 12th. Malvin 13th with M125 14th. Curry 15th. Beret 16th. Escargo 17th. Jonas Albrecht in 18th. Jason is back and Mike. No lap times on the board at the very back end of the grid. Probably not the start that they were both hoping for this season, but it's only up from there, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is up from here so far. And honestly, I think Senna was keen to get his season off to a good start, and he absolutely nailed it. I mean, he won the last race in Canada last season, so I was expecting really big things, and he was even expecting big things from himself. Of course, we had Tony, who won the championship last season. Due to work commitments, of course, he wouldn't have been able to race this season, and he said he's very excited to get going. And you know what his main aim is for the championship this season? His eyes is on the prize. So I think this strongly suggests that if he doesn't go for the title, if he doesn't win the title, he's going to be very disappointed.
Yeah, no, 100% I agree. I mean, again, Casper was very, very consistent throughout the last season. It's just a shame that his teammate was that more consistent in comparison to himself. So I'm sure, he's looking for a bit of revenge for it this season and looking to actually try and take the top spot for this season. Like I say, a few other guys. In fact, let's have a look through the rest of the pre-race interviews for the rest of them. Nick, again, he's to start off the season. He hasn't actually even set himself any targets for the season. He just wants to be consistent, and that he would love a pole position. Unfortunately, let down in 12th. It's not a good start, mate. But he is hoping that he's a better team. Well, in fact, he's hoping that Lukey is a better teammate than he is at making images.
Ooh.
So a few little shots at his teammate, which is nice to see. I'm intrigued to see what Lukey has actually said back in response to that one. I'll try and find that in just a short moment.
Go on, say it, because I think they have a lot of banter with each other. Go on.
Let's have a look. He has said, love racing for Ferrari, but I would have liked a better teammate. But I can't have it all, I guess. I think our best teamwork is when we put each other in the barrier. So there you go. The rivalry from last season still continuing despite being teammates, which is nice to see.
Yeah, I mean, it is a funny situation with them bantering like that. Of course, it was interesting to find out that they were going to be teammates this season. Of course, the whole situation with Lewis Hamilton moving to Ferrari, and Nick kind of wanted to butt the trend and move to Ferrari very, very soon. But we do know in One Hub Racing, the team contracts have become a bigger thing compared to the last few seasons. If you do not meet your team objectives in one season, you're not going to be able to race in that team for the following season. So if Nick and Lukey do not have a great season, Nick's going to say bye-bye to that beloved Ferrari for F1 2025, and he's not going to be racing with Lewis Hamilton, which you'll probably be very disappointed. But there's quite a few drivers that are in different teams that you might expect because of those changes, and quite a few people that also moved up teams because of it. So say if, Marco does very well in the Williams this season, he could do absolutely fantastic, maybe get a championship, and then go for a higher team in between season 27, where we go on F1 25. So, team contracts, a big overhaul this season.
Yeah, I was about to say the joys of the team contracts. They do make it as fair as possible with all of those, especially if you are new to One Hub as well. It's trying to make it as fair as possible with all of that. So, like I say, it's fair enough to see, and. If Nick or Lukey don't do particularly well, like you say, I don't think Nick's going to be very happy if he doesn't get to race with Lewis Hamilton in the Ferrari for next season when the next game does end up coming out. So I'm sure he'll probably actually just choose not to race and carry on working on around his restaurants that he does anyway. So
yeah, he has opened a new restaurant now with Wimpy. So fair play to him. He was debating on whether to actually race this season, but he is racing this season. So good on him. Good on him. That's very great to see from Nick as well. We've got quite a few things to talk about actually, which is why we're glad we got some time to talk about it. But drivers' press conference. So one driver gets called to the drivers' press conference each week, and it is two of our new drivers that got called in for each tier. Of course, one of them didn't race because she had to get a puppy, which looks very cute, by the way. But Mike has been called from the P1 tier, and he was asked by our lovely press team in the media centre, how does it feel to be back behind the wheel, make a change from the commentary box? Fantastic pace on qualifying night, considering a substantial amount of time out the racing side. Do you think you can hold your own in the top tier this season, and will you be putting in plenty of practice in to do so? And he said, it feels strange to be back behind the wheel, but I was astonished with my pace in qualifying night. I generally didn't expect to be in the top tier, but now I'm here, I guess. It's just a wait and see if I belong here on merit or got lucky around a familiar track. Time will tell, but we'll see how I get on, as practice, the time I have for practice is less than what I previously raced. So he's mainly been time trial stressing, and the interesting thing he said as well, Jeddah, Miami, Qatar and Vegas, he has not raced on any F1 game ever, and Abu Dhabi, the new track, he hasn't raced there either. So those 5 tracks are going to be a bit of the unknown. Japan is probably one of his favourite tracks, but the others, kind of a little bit of bogey track for him. Well, I was expecting him to be put in P2, but the stats didn't lie. He had the pace to be in P1, and here he is. How do you think he'll do this season? Well, at this rate, he's not going to do very well if he's starting in P20.
Like I say, can only go up for him. But I mean, yeah, I think there's definitely a few tracks I know that he can be pretty good at. I know Japan is one of them. I don't know if you would probably agree with that anymore, but I know Japan, he does seem quite notoriously decent at Japan, I've got to say. He did say that he's looking at Canada, Jeddah, Miami, Qatar, Vegas are brand new tracks for him. He's never touched them at all in his life. So I'll be honest with you, Mike, I'm expecting P20 to start off from there. But again, it can only go up for you from those 4 tracks. Yeah, I think it's going to be a tough order for Mike, especially as you say, it's his first time back in racing, back in sim racing for a couple of years now. So hopefully, he's able to pick it up quite quickly. I'm sure he'll probably get the back end of a few of the esports worlds, the Red Dragon guys, try and help him through it as much as possible. And especially his teammate, Callum, again, last season was normally one of the top contenders against Tony, against Casper. I think even against Nicolas Soro when he was in there a couple of seasons ago, he would be contesting with him a few times. So I don't think you probably could have asked for a better teammate to have than probably Callum and Arndt. Again, that's me giving him the biggest ego as much as possible. But I think, Callum's going to be a good teammate to Mike. And I, in my opinion, I think they're probably the most underrated driver pairing for the season. I think Mike, as soon as he picks it up, he'll just flow with it. Really hope that is not the stream cutting out again. You are very, very quiet.
Somehow, my mic decided to mute itself, which is very weird. Sorry about that. Yeah, he seemed to take it like ducks to water, Mike, and we're really happy for this teammate. And Callum's super happy, and he knows him in real life, and it's a good laugh. And sometimes when you push in real life, that's probably what you need. But before we head to the main action, we got a few sponsors to go through before we kick off, as well as talk about a few rules. So, Next Level Racing. These are the prizes that the drivers could win. We're still getting them confirmed by Next Level Racing themselves, but these are what drivers have won in the past, so massive shout out to them. Then we've got our Drivers' Championship prizes, which you can win prizes from Vespertine as well, and also some lovely trophies. Same with our Constructors' Championship, and if they do well on the Constructors' Championship, free entry into next season. Pure Sim Gear, at the moment, we do a discount for their gloves as well. So if you are interested in getting some gloves or any other of the products, it's 10% off. Use the code OHR10P to get 10% off all Pure Sim Gear products, as well as a driver picking up a pair of Pure Sim Gear gloves or socks if they win the Speedster Award. Our partners, Vespertine, supporting our championship apparel, as well as providing prizes to the winner of the Going Gets Tough Award, winning the Race to Dream t-shirt, as well as our rankings winner getting a Pole Sitter Premium t-shirt. Then also our partners at SimGrid provide the standings and also let the drivers sign up for it, because without that, the drivers wouldn't be able to sign up and we would have had to do a stupid Google form, and it wouldn't have been great. So thank you to all of our sponsors. We couldn't have done it without you. We are about to get racing. Of course, the drivers are getting their setups sorted. No grid penalties this week, no engine penalties or gearbox penalties, because of course they won't get to the end if they take it from here. So it's a clean slate, no naughty drivers from qualifying, so it is the same order you're going to see than what we saw in qualifying, with Senna on pole position. Now, Jack, who is your pick for the win? Top 3.
I mean, it's going to be hard to go against Senna, especially with that qualifying pace that he had in that. I think it's hard to go against him. I mean, both Merc, both Williams, both Red Bulls, those 6 drivers, I think, have already proved themselves just in this first race or first qualifying session alone. They were not a country mile, but they were quite clear ahead of the rest of the grid. Ahead of the rest of the grid. If I'm going to say Senna, Marco, and Entity, I think are going to be my top 3, but I think it's going to be really close between all of those guys. I know Lakitu, his race pace can be good, but I don't think it will be. I think he might just get slightly outclassed by the other 2 Williams behind him.
That is a good shout, to be fair. I'm gonna go with Senna for the win as well. I'm gonna go with. Oh, it's quite tough here. I'm gonna go with Entity P2 and Marco P3. That is my prediction. But here we go then. The drivers are heading on their formation lap as I get all my data sorted out for the session, and then we could get going. There we go. So I was getting my Stream Deck working as well. That my internet cut off, and then my Stream Deck decided to shut down on me. But there we go. We got it working now. So top 10, starting on the medium compounder tyres, along with Lukey on the mediums as well. Nick, M125 and Curry on the softs. I don't know why they're starting on the softs, to be honest, because I told Nick earlier on, do not start on soft tyres. You will lose pace after 4 laps. We'll see how he does from then on. Malvin on the mediums. So we've got Bear on the mediums as well. Escargot on the hards. Jonas on the mediums. Jason on the hards. And Ivan Mike on the mediums. We have our adaptive weather system at One Hub Racing. And the wheel has spoken it to be light cloud to overcast to clear is going to be our weather for today. For the race, and it was light cloud to overcast in the race. Are you shocked that 3 drivers out of our 20 are starting on the soft tyres?
Yes, and I'm shocked it's those 3, if I'm honest with you. Both of the Saubers on the softs, I think they're just going to be tripping over each other. Nick as well, standing behind his teammate on the set of soft tyres. I, in my opinion, unless there's a really early safety car like lap 1, lap 2, I think that's an early recipe disaster for those 3 soft runners. The 2 hard runners, Escargot and Jason, they're just looking to try and make their way through the field. They've got to hope there's no safety cars early on. I think best strategy around here is probably medium, hard, medium, or medium, hard, hard. So the guys on the mediums, I think, they're going to be the ones we need to try and keep our eye out for, especially those other 2 as well on the hards in 17th and 19th. I'm expecting them to make their way through the pack, but they're all lined up to their grid spots now. Jess, let's get this first race of the season underway.
It is very exciting. I've been excited all week. I'm sure all of you who are watching on Twitch have been as well. The 5 red lights are on here at One Hub P1 tier, and season 26 is a go. And the camera is absolutely awful, so I can't see who has got a good start. But Entity's got a really good start off the line compared to Lakita going towards turn 1. Senna very nice through 1 as well. Casper's dropped down to 5th. Let's see how they do in turn 2. No harm done thus far, no major pile-up so far. Turn 5's going to be the kicker if they make it or break it. The top 3 pulling away quite nicely. How is the mid half of the midfield doing? As we can see, one of the McLarens of Malvin try to go up the inside of M125, does so with ease. Callum on Arm has dropped to 10th place, so not the start that he was looking for so far. But Senna, we're pretty much our top 3. Pretty much line astern so far. The Williams switching places. Casper's dropping a place. And the Red Bulls are not doing too well, but so far, surprisingly, very, very clean.
Yeah, top 7 all remaining in the same position. Same with Lukey. I think Nick, a bit of a disappointing start from him, especially on those soft tyres. I think he may have just gotten a little bit held up from his start. I did see he had a really good start, but then just went back slightly. I think, again, one of the guys in front of him just did not have a good start, which compromised him. So he's now dropped to the 1 position. The 2 Saubers as well on those softs. 13th, 14th, 15th, all on the set of soft tyres, and they're not going to be happy with how their start has gone. But Senna leads the way now on the first lap. Nikitu in second, with Entity in third, with Moikali in fourth, or Marco. I don't know how you pronounce it. I'm assuming it's Moikali, but we'll just go Marco.
Oh.
Casper in fifth, with Cracky in sixth, Axelock in seventh. Key in eighth has actually just gotten past Oshin, so very good move from him as well. Oshin in ninth, and Lukey rounding out that top 10. The spin sword's gone straight on.
Nick went straight on into the exit Tabarillo. And we have our first safety car. What happened? That looked like a technical issue to me. That definitely looked like a technical issue. It looked like his brakes failed.
Yeah, it definitely looked like something had happened, or his wheel disconnected or something, because he just went straight in the wall. So I don't know what happened there. I hope both Callum and M125 don't have the glitch where it shows that they're supposed to be in front of one another. I think they might have just sorted themselves out now, so that's good to see.
Yeah, good.
But early safety car. Again, like I said, the Kick Sours are probably happy that there's an early safety car. Unfortunately, Curry's going to have to stack behind his teammate, but do you reckon we're going to see many pit stops?
I think for M125 and Curry, yeah, definitely. I think this could work out well for them because they can literally go onto medium tyres, stretch out for 11, 12 laps. don't go on sale on the hards to the end of the race. The hards last forever on this game, and they can literally get their 2 stops done and dusted. And it just gives us a quick reminder about the rules we have at One Hub Racing. All drivers are required to complete mandatory 2 stops, as unsurprisingly most people are in, apart from Callum. So as long as they do their 2 stops, they're all golden. If they don't do their 2 stops, they will get a DSQ from the race. Fastest lap points are awarded to one driver inside the top 10, as Callum has retired from the race. I literally don't know what's happened there to Callum, so he is out of it. So yeah, driver outside the top 10 and driver inside the top 10, they get fastest lap points each. And of course, all drivers are required to take engine penalties and grid box penalties each for the entire season. They have to do it at least once per season, otherwise they'll get a 20 points deduction in at the championship. But I wonder if Callum's got a technical issue as well, because that's very unlike him to retire when he was running so well.
Yeah, I mean, he was one of the only ones that didn't hit. I think Beret, Mike, and Escargo were the only other ones that didn't make any pit stops. Escargo, I'm not surprised because he started on the hard tyres, but Beret and Mike, I'm quite surprised they didn't follow him with the rest of the pack. Don't know what Mike's like, though. He's probably just wanting to say, you know, give me a bit of screen time here. He loves the limelight, bless him, so we'll see if he does end up having another Ivor spin Mike at some point. But, yeah, it was really strange because I was wandering on board with Callum and he just all of a sudden retired. So I'm assuming he may have had some sort of technical error. It did look like...
Or emergency, maybe. Corner. It might be family emergency. Maybe. I don't know. What's up with Mike?
Oh. Mike's now just gone straight on.
Mike, what are you doing? He's going to get disqualified. Mike, what are you doing? Oh, my God. Well okay. Then. It's not technically a spin from Irish Spin, Mike, but it kind of counted. Right, I just had a word from Nick, and apparently he got hit by Callum's connection. Callum's connection did look a bit dodgy, to be fair. That's probably why he retired. So, yeah, it wasn't his brakes failed. Apparently he got hit by Callum. So that was unfortunate. So we got more pitters, Jack, with Barrett, Kieran, and Ivor Bryn Mike pitting. And it just leaves Escargo in the house, the only driver yet to pit. I think he's probably made a mistake with that because he's going to lose so much time, whereas everyone else could do their 2 stops when we get another safety car. He will have to make an extra stop compared to everyone else. So for him in the house, seeing everyone else pit, he's probably made a mistake.
Yeah, no, I completely agree as well. But I'm quite surprised that, well, I suppose Callum Alarms had just said that he probably didn't want anyone to sort of suffer with his connections. So that's probably why he ended up retiring. But one driver has opted to do his 2 stops already. Keith has decided to say, you know what, I'm going to try and take these hards to the end of the race. With 28 laps, unless there's another safety car, I think he might be in a bit of trouble with trying to do this to the end. But he's done 2 stops, so he's fulfilled his requirement. We'll see if it plays out for him, though.
Yeah, so I'll get the stops for you, because I know there's quite a few engineers watching in the chat. Colin. So yeah, Kieran, I think this could work out for him. I agree. We have seen in One Hub races in the past where people got their 2 stops on early and made it work, but their tyres are going to be an absolute nightmare at the end of the race. But if he could do that on merit, that could be very good for the Red Bull team. As Escargo will be the Burt Mylander and making his way through past the Variante Alto through Rabata for the 4th time, and we are about to go green once again. 2 retirements thus far. Hopefully we won't get any more, but we know how safety car restarts can get very hairy here in One Hub Racing in Imola especially. As Escargo goes out moment, he's had a bit of a spin and Senna leads, so him staying out was not the best decision at all. But we do have Entity who's going to get a massive tow from Senna in past turn 1, now the kick, now towards turn 2, around the outside goes Entity, doesn't quite make it work. Senna holds to the inside and Senna keeps the lead from the Williams driver. Lakita's going to try and go up the inside into Villeneuve. I don't think that would work, Sunshine. He's going to back out of it thus far. The top 4 pulling away from almost everybody. But Escargo just seems to have lost it. He's probably not used to restarts before. And probably the inexperience showed, I think.
Yeah, it certainly is. And I'll tell you what, I think there's been a driver that's made a bit of a mistake. Marco has gone on a set of the soft compounder tyres on his first pit stop. So he is going to be going for probably about 4 or 5 more laps before those tyres end up degrading severely and probably going to get overtaken by everybody else throughout the pack. So he needs to try and make some gains up in 6th place now. I think he must have had a bit of a bad restart because Axel jumped up ahead of him. In fact, actually, no, sorry, he double stacked with his teammate. It's Oshin, the first driver in the P1 to pick up a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. So, yes, unfortunately for the Irishman, he's already at a bit of a disadvantage. But lucky thing for him, as I say, he's got a driver on the set of the softs who, if he's just a bit patient, can just wait and let them degrade.
Yeah, the softs only last like a few laps properly before the mediums and the hards become a viable option. So I think Oshin wouldn't mind just being a bit patient a little bit. He doesn't want a late safety car. Otherwise, that can cost him quite a few places. So he's just got to hope that everyone else around him does get penalties. Senna doing very well to hold that lead over Entity, but we know Entity is probably going to be a patient guy too. Once the mediums start to die off in about 7 or 8 laps time. So if Entity just can stay in just behind Senna for quite a few laps, he could be on for a very good position and net P1. Same with Lakitu and Casper with his first race on the PC. Don't forget, as M125 picks up a warning, don't forget our last race winner around this track was someone who was so used to being on the PlayStation and had his first race win on the PC. Could history repeat itself this evening with Casper? It's going to be a tall order, but you never know with Casper Klein.
Yeah, never know whatsoever. As I say, could be Casper, could be Senna, could be Entity, could be Lakitu. You never know. But what I do know is that we've had 3 drivers pick up a penalty on the same lap. So Oshin, N125 and Jason is back, all picking up themselves a 3-second time penalty for cutting corners, as Lakitu now trying to go on the attack on Entity before reaching up towards turn number 1. And in fact, the German does get past Craggy as well, also making against both the Aston Martins, making up a position. The 2 Saubers also just trading positions as Jason, in fact, side by side with M125 going through turn 1 and 2, 3, and Jason going off track slightly, I think forced off a little bit, as allowing Key to make his way through again. Already doing the 2 stops with Kieran, so he's going to try and just play the patient game, play the easy game. He doesn't want to burn out his tyres too much. Of course, he wants to get racy with it, but he doesn't want to burn them out too much to the point where it's just going to degrade towards the end. He's just going to hope there's no other safety cars, because if there's no safety cars, he's laughing. He's already done his 2 stops. As Lukey now, the fourth driver to pick up a 3-second time penalty. I get the feeling, Jess, we're going to see a lot of these throughout this race.
I think lots and lots of time penalties we're going to see from a lot of our drivers. This is the P1 tier. The P1 tier is known for pushing. They're the quickest drivers for a reason. If we don't see people pushing, then this is not the P1 tier. So, but I know there's some people, I know usually like yourself, you usually like to keep it clean and get no penalties, and you usually gain quite a few places from it. So I think we could see quite a few drivers who are like in the midfield that could potentially do that. That could be on for like a P5, P4 podium type if there's a late safety car. So I think we're seeing one of the Ferraris of Lukey's going up the inside of Malvin in towards turn 2. DRS enabled for him, and he goes past very, very easily. Does Lukey. Same with Marco as well on so lots of those two going with Ding Dong battle. Marco, I think, is in a very dangerous spot as we got another penalty. There we go. Marco is definitely in a dangerous spot. He's got Axelot and he's got Craggy on newer tyres, and we got M125 is out, and we got our second safety car. And well, this is good news if you're on the mediums like Senna and the likes of Axelot, Lukey, Oshin, Malvin, Curl. You can get your 2 stops done now. But if you haven't done your 2 stops yet and you're on the hard tyres, I think you're pretty much screwed.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think Marco also is going to be benefiting from that massively. I think his tyres were starting to go off, even though he passed up ahead of Axelot. I think he was going to start to lose a bit of pace. I think he actually dropped out of the 1-second DRS zone from Casper right in front of him. So, yeah, I think he was going to see that Williams definitely make his way into the pits. Entity, Lakitu, Casper. I don't expect them to come into the pits. Senna, we could see come into the pits, but again, his tyres at the end are just going to be dead. So we'll see if he does, and he does in fact make his way into the pits yet. Lakitu, Entity, and Casper all staying out. Marco into the pits, not surprised at that one. Axlock following in as well. Oshin following in, Lukey in, Malvin and Curry also making his way in. Key is staying out on those hard tyres as well. So like I said, Kieran's going to try and stick out on those hards to the end of the race. Jason also staying out on those medium tyres. Remember, he was one of the ones that started on the set of the hards with, I believe it was with Escargo. So yeah, he's going to try and line out those mediums just for a little bit longer. Beret as well also opting to stay out. The rest of the guys making their way in for the set of the hards. Jonas Albrook though going in slightly different, and same with Escargo, both going on a set of the mediums, although it is Escargo's first stop. But Jonas quite surprised at going on a set of the medium tyres for himself.
I don't think the mediums are going to last to the end of the race, because after 10 laps, they go off very quickly. So I think Jonas has probably put himself in a really dangerous position. Of course, he has not raced on the F124 game at One Hub Racing, so he's having to adapt a bit more to everybody else. He is enjoying it, though, he said in the pre-race interviews. He's trying to get the hang of it a little bit. And there are some words that he did say that I won't say on stream, because I can't even say it. His main goal this season, 24 points. That is an exact points you want to score. I don't usually aim for that. An average of 2 per race. If he gets up on the podium during a race or a sprint, that will be really happy. Anything above will be a bonus. So 2 per race. At the moment, it's not going well, because at One Hub Racing, to score points, you need to finish inside the top 12 or score the fastest lap outside the top 10 if you want to get some points. At the moment, he's not doing that. But if everyone else has a Murray behind, he could definitely pick up the pieces and score some points. I will get your stops for you, if it will let me. Stops, there we go. So we only have Beret, Jason, Escargo, Craggy, Casper, Entity, Lakitu, who only done 1 stop. So Senna is technically your net race leader. And Jonas, very smart decision, I think, from Jonas, Jack. He's going to get his 2 stops out of the way. If he doesn't go on his hards that he used in the start of the race, I'll be shocked. But yeah, he just wants to get his 2 stop out of the way. Let's hope it's not softs, please. Goes on. Yeah, he's going on the hards that he started the race on, which only been on there for two laps or so. So smart move.
Yeah, I mean, well, for me, for some reason, it actually says 6 laps, so I'm not too sure about that. But yeah,
no. I mean, the start of I said the start of the race. I said.
Oh, okay. Got ya. Yeah, no, that's fine. It says for some reason it was in 6 laps, but it's probably just a bug on the game, so is what it is. But yeah, no, in fact, our net race leader, it's not actually even Senna. It is still Kieran. He has done these 2 stops. He's 2 spots up ahead of both of the Alpines. Yeah, sorry, ahead of Senna. So yeah, Kieran's still in a bit of a prime position. Like I say, he's just got to hope there's not too many safety cars, because otherwise that's just going to compromise his strategy. So he's playing the big risky game, but again, big risk can equal big reward. So let's hope and see if it does pay out for Kieran on that one. But yeah, Lakitu, Entity, Casper, Craggy, all on a set of those hards, only doing the 1 stop so far. I think, they're definitely not counting out of it. Despite the rest of the guys doing the 2 stops, anything can happen within the field that can back the rest of the guys up. I know safety car is going to be in at the end of this lap, so we'll see how Lakitu does that restart. But yeah, I don't think we can really count out those guys in the top 4, because, they've got their own merit with their qualifying pace. So they are very quick. They can try and pull away from the rest of the grid. It's just time will tell if the rest of the pack is going to be held up from them, or if they're going to be able to get away from them.
Here comes the Keto. I think the top 4 need to get a move on ASAP, because everyone else is going to be on the fresher rubber, the likes of Senna and Marco. But they're going to get a massive toe on the straight. Lakitu has been left vulnerable. He left very early. And here they go. 3 wide in towards turn 1 they go. In the King. Casper, oh, that's a huge pile-up. Huge pile-up in towards turn 2. And yeah, that is not how you race to go 3 wide like that. That pushes Kieran to the lead. And we got a VSC because of it. Someone just spun Entity. What is going on? Chaos has erupted at Imola. And yeah, I think I was debating why they would go 3 wide. They're 3 wide in towards turn 1 and 2 just doesn't work.
I think they even actually ended up going 4 wide in the end, and yeah, unfortunately, it did not pay off for the rest of them. I'll tell you who did pay off on that massively though was Kieran. Kieran made it alive, or made it out of there alive, and he's now 1.5 seconds up ahead of Craggy. Of course, with the virtual safety car, all those timings will most likely change very shortly. But yeah, Casper getting involved within that, Lakitu getting involved within that, Entity then having to spin on his own. He's now missing half of his front wing, so he's going to have to make another pit stop on this lap. Mike, I think he's probably absolutely laughing at what's happening at the moment, because he's now thinking, well, I've got myself a few extra positions after what had happened randomly under the safety car, just deciding to go straight on at Alta. So yeah, I think Welshman's definitely going to be happy with what's happening. But did Marco get involved in that as well? I think
I can't remember.
He's come out unscathed.
Let me just check his front wing. He's all right. Yeah, quite a few pitters. The stewards they're going to be so busy in the P1 tier. It's unbelievable. As Oshin's out the race.
Wow, so he must have been caught out within that as well.
I wonder if he had a connection issue as well, maybe from Oshin, but we will see. Unfortunate debut to the P1 tier for a while for Oshin, but he's got Jeddah next week. Oh God, if there was chaos here today, I'm dreading into what is going to be in Jeddah next week, but we know Jeddah can cause some great races as well. So I think Barry, has he done his 2 stops? Let me check the stops once again, just to see who's done their 2 stops.
No,
Barry hasn't, and he's on hards though. So unless he's gone for the hardest strategy, if he's gone for the hardest strategy, he would have probably done his 2 stops now. The Kitu's come in, not surprisingly, to do his 2nd stop on the mediums. That's going to be dreading a little bit there as well, but we'll find out. I was not a VSC. Never mind, it's a safety car. Why did it say VSC then?
I was just looking at that and I saw everyone was piling up behind a yellow dot and I was like, wait, what? Okay, so it is now a full course safety car, even though it's just this virtual safety car at the top. So very strange, but
what a game! Again, what a feature!
Yeah, exactly. I don't think Kieran's gonna be too happy with with that safety car coming out. I think Escargo and Berra are the only 2 that haven't done 2 stops as of yet. I mean, Escargo's sitting in 9th and Berra's sitting in 2nd. Again, chaos erupts like that again. I don't think Berra's really going to mind if another safety car comes out, because then he can just go on and maybe a set of mediums if it happens in a couple laps' time and just cruise it off to the end of the race. I'm sure Kieran actually might not be minding the fact that there's a safety car, because he can preserve his hard tyres just that extra bit more. So
yeah,
I think he's probably actually wishing that there are some more safety cars coming out, but at the same time, you know, guys can then opt to go on mediums. He then compromises his strategy as Casper comes into the pits again, because I think he was on the set of soft, so he's going back on his hard compound of tyres. So he'll be at the very back of the grid. Guys that started out on the top, like at the top row, other than Senna and Marco, all at the back of the grid now. So
they have to climb their way through the field.
Intrigued. Yeah, I think this could be. I know it's already been chaos, and we're only 13 laps in, and we're not even halfway into the race. But I think we're going to see some more chaos ensue throughout these next few laps as soon as that safety car does make its way in, Jess.
I was not expected to be 2 or 3 safety cars by lap 13. I would say. This is our 3rd safety car, isn't it?
Yeah, that's just Casper's just spun on his outlap.
Oh no! To be fair, on old hard tyres, I'm not really that surprised, my friend. But let's run for your order, because it's changed quite massively since the last restart. So, fasten your seatbelts, everybody. There's been some massive changes. Let's go through position changes, shall we? As well, Kieran. Up 9 places. Don't forget, some people still yet to do their 2 stop. I think Barry one of them. I think apart from Barry, everyone else has done their 2 stop. Kieran, your net race leader P1, up 9 places. Barry in 2nd, Senna in 3rd, but he's in a decent position. He can still win this race from here with the fresher rubber. Marco in 4th, got away unscathed earlier. Slot up 5 places. Lukey up. No, Atslock up 2, sorry. My bad. Lukey up 5. Malvin up 6. From Mike, I don't know how he's done it, up 12. Has he done his 2 stops though? Let me have a look. Yes, he has. So he's up there on merit. Escargo in 9th, Curry in 10th. Then we got Jonas in 11th. And at the moment, your final points paying position down 6th is Craggy. Biggest losers, of course, being Entity, Lakitu, and Casper. And don't forget, just staying there in this chaotic track and just avoiding the chaos is sometimes what you need. That's what's helped me in one hub in the past. I just feel like I have bad race, and then sometimes chaos ensue, and then I end up getting a point. So if you're a driver that's struggling to get points, just keeping it clean is sometimes enough in these kind of races.
Yeah, as you say, keeping it clean. I mean, it's proven well for Kieran, it's proven well for Mike, it's proven well for Lukey as well. Lukey's up in
Everyone that's
position.
gained places, it's gained them.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And the guys that are out, well, they're the ones that started towards the front end of the grid. Unfortunately, if you try and go 4 wide, as you say, it's not really going to work out, is it? And I think that's just been proven. So, yeah, Senna, I think, is still looking okay at the moment. I didn't see any front wing fly off him, but I think he was involved within all of that had happened. Casper has got a drive-through penalty for falling too far back. Oh, he's got himself a wing damage again. He's spun again.
That's a bit harsh, like because you get the falling too far back if you're getting close to the field and you fall too far back, and then he spun, and he still got that. That is a bit harsh. Come on. Honestly, if I was Casper, I hate to say it, I would retire the car, because how would you fight back unless we get another safety car? I would just hold it for 2 laps. I don't know. Casper's race has gone from bad to worse, and I think I've jinxed him quite a few times this race, so he can probably have myself to blame there. But Kieran is going to be leading the field away. He's probably gasping for excitement that he's in this position right now, but he's going to have to defend people who are on 5-lap newer tyres than him, Senna being one of them. Beret still yet to stop. He's the buffer, so he's going to hope that Beret does not get a move on here. Kieran, up he comes through the start finish straight, and for the 4th time tonight, we go racing here at Imola, and Axelog's probably got the best restart of them all, side by side in towards turn 1, this time not 4 wide. Here comes Axel, a bit of contact being made, Marco defending right on the inside there, and Marco stays in 4th position. Everyone making it through Tamburillo so far, so not much for bigger pile-up so far. It's still saying a safety car on our end, but there's no safety car as Jason's got our next 3-second time penalty of the event. Malvin trying to go up the inside of Lukey up the hill, and I think he's going to make it in the move stick unless Lukey can try to go around the outside, banging wheels through into turn number 9, which I can't remember what corner name it is, but there we go. Malvin's up to 6th anyway with Lukey's 3-second time penalty. Mike's keeping up with these guys actually, but Curry is right on the back of him as he tries to go side by side in towards La Variante Alta, as well as Craggy. Here they go as Curry is up in position. So far so good, but Kieran pulling a 1-second gap from Bear. This is just what he needs.
Yeah, no, he certainly does. And a little bit further behind Jason's back, I think actually just got himself a bit of wing damage. Hit the back of Escargo on the Haas. So very unfortunate for the Alpine. He's probably going to have to make his way into the pits very shortly. He has gone past him though. DRS being enabled, of course, on this lap. Only 1 lap now until we get the DRS. So yeah, we have got it on this lap. There's Marco now trying to go around the outside of Berry up for the podium position. Berry's not going to try and give that one up too easy. The NXX driver is going to hold that one down the inside and maintain that 3rd position. It's just now allowing Senna and Kieran to move their way on up ahead of the Alpine driver, and I don't think Marco's going to be too happy that he's holding him up ever so slightly, as he might even try to go down the inside up in towards the end of the 1st sector, but no, he does hold on back behind them. Again, the 1-second buffer is now there, and Marco trying to go around the outside to have the inside for the next corner now, and does do so.
Yellow
As he's going to
flag.
spin out the back. That is Entity. I think it's Entity. At
Yeah,
the
it
back.
was Entity. Yeah. So
Wow.
Entity's at a moment. Entity, who was both our picks for the race, is falling down in 14th. Unless we get a late safety car, that's pretty much his race over. Fair play for Casper for sticking out of it, so he's proved me wrong, and it just shows that don't give up, because you never know, you can still get points out of all of this. As Axel goes around the outside in towards Ravata. Here he goes, nicely done from the Red Bull driver. A really astonishing race from Axel. We got more penalties from Mike and Curry. That come into play towards the end of this race. Kieran, though, he's got a charging Senna right behind him, and Senna is not messing about here. Almost free-winded towards turn 2 as we've got Malvin who's trying to defend round the outside. Nicely done from him. Craggy on fresher mediums. He's probably annoyed that he can't get past Malvin right now. Barrett is probably going to be the trolley train as Lukey, Curry and Lakitu are all trying to get past as we've got Atslop trying to defend from Malvin as Malvin tries to go up the inside. Don't go free wide through there, guys. Please don't. It's not going to end well. Craggy goes up the inside of 2 of them and it works out wonders. Craggy, take a bow. That's how you go around the outside into turn 9. And you make it work. Usually if I go free wide there, we end up in a wall. So well done, Craggy. Move of the stream so far.
Yeah, very good move from Craggy. I know he's been very impatient. I saw as he was making his way down towards turn 1, he was trying to pass all 3 cars as Kieran now getting overtaken by Senna for the lead of the race. Kieran's going to hold it around down the inside at Ravazza in the final 2 corners. He's going to be able to hold on to it, but Senna's going to have the DRS on the Red Bull. So Mercedes versus the Red Bull, of course, the age-old battle between the 2 teams, and I think Senna is probably going to have quite an easy move on Kieran as they make their way down towards turn number 1, yet straight past him already, and that is Senna now into the lead of the race. Kieran just wants to try and do his best and stick with Senna as Axel now getting the move done on Malvin. In fact, both side by side going through turn number 1, 2 and 3, and Axel is going to be able to hold on to that, but Malvin trying to hold it down the inside of turn number 3, not be able to do so. That was a Luke Keaton now trying to maybe go for a move on the McLaren, but has to hold on back, does the Ferrari. So going to be able to just sort of slot in between or slot in behind the McLaren, keeping up ahead of Curry so far. But yeah, Craggy, again, amazing move as they made their way up towards the end of the first sector, and now 1.8 seconds on those medium tyres. He wants to try and catch up to the back of Marco. If he can, just sit in his DRS, just chill out, hold those medium tyres, do what basically Kieran's doing. Just hold on to those medium tyres just to avoid trying to make another pit stop. Unless you're gambling for a second safety, or a full safety car, should I say. As I say that, Curry having to spin up very anti-alta. Hopefully, I wonder if that will cause another safety car. Actually, I think he might be missing a part of his front wing.
He's in the wall.
On the straight line. I think he's just about avoided the wall, so he's still got his front wing intact. So
good.
Yeah, just hold on with that one. But yeah, maybe they're banking on another safety car as Casper just moving out of the way. Unfortunately,
he's lapped
by the whole field now.
Oh, that is a shame for Casper, but sometimes you get instances like that. You get bad luck after bad luck and bad luck. But luckily it's round 1. Still 11 rounds to go after this one, so plenty of chances for Casper to fight back. We've seen many champions in 100 racing history who did not have a good first race, maybe DNF'd in it, still went on to win the title. So don't give up hope, Casper, if you're watching this back, as Iberbrim Mike is being absolutely swamped by Barrett and Jonas Olbrit sandwich. I think Mike wants to get past Barrett because he knows Mike's on the fresher tyres. Go on, Sunshine. He's not going to try and go for a move there, I don't think. He's not going to do what Mason did earlier on. He's going to wait, I think, until the back straight is... oh, no, Marco's got a 3-second time penalty. So they're starting to come into effect as we head to the final stages of the race. And if there was no safety cars, most people would be doing their final stops by now to go on to the hards. But not today. We had 3 safety cars. We could get a 4th as we had a yellow flag. And I think that was Casper moving out the way. Never mind. It's Kieran is still pretty much 1.2 second gap between Senna and Kieran right now. Marco could be chasing him down anytime soon. Generally, touch wood, clean from most of our pretty much top 10 so far. Identity picks up a penalty, as I said that.
Yeah, gone from bad to worse for the Williams driver. Well, both Williams drivers, shall I say. Marco was with that 3-second time penalty. It was Mike getting the move done on Berry. I don't think Montana, the owner of NSX, is going to be quite happy that he sees over Mike going past one of his drivers. But we'll see what Montana says about that at a later date. But yeah, Mike now moving up into 9th position. Of course, with that 3-second time penalty, he's still going to be on the back burner from those 2 behind. But I mean, he's doing decent. And the 2 behind him. Yeah, he's doing a pretty good job so far. I think 9th position for Mike, starting 20th. I don't think he can really complain, but I'll tell you who might be having a bit of complaints very, very soon. It's going to be Craggy. He's now 6/10 of a second behind Marco on those medium tyres, 8 laps in on those mediums as well. Give it another 4 or 5 more laps. I think those tyres will start to complain on that Aston Martin, and at that point, I think we'll then see the crossover between those hards and the medium compound tyre. But at the moment, Craggy looking like the fastest driver out on track so far. Kieran completely lost touch with Senna, but Kieran he's still holding his own up ahead of Marco.
I think it'll still be a good result regardless if he does that. He's just going to hope that Marco and Craggy do not get past him. I would work together, those two, to try and close in on Kieran, just DRS each other and not lose too much time by fighting each other. Lukey's doing the same on Malvin, getting past Malvin. Lukey doing the same, getting past Malvin with the DRS. Jonas getting past Barrett, which strongly suggests, oh no, Barrett actually fought this one. Barrett fought this one, and he's like, no, thank you, Jonas, you're not getting past me, but they're on the same amount of tyres. So that explains why they've been fighting each other this hard. And don't forget, this is all for the final few points, and this can make or break your season pretty much, because sometimes championships are won or lost by a point in this championship, and some races it could come down to this race maybe being the deciding factor, and it could only be round number 1. Senna, 2.5 second gap over Kieran so far. Senna, I believe, has done his 2 stop. So is Kieran in second, Craggy in third. I think he still has to make one more stop, because realistically those mediums won't get to the end from here. And Marco is probably going to be a patient little man and wait for a few laps to go and get past him. If I was him, I would get past him right now, because they're all starting to wheel Kieran in. I think they're working incredibly well together, even though they're not in the same team. So they're doing exactly what I said, switching with DRS with each other, and that's definitely helping them staying in that train.
Yep, and Barra now finally making his final pit stop, so he's just made his way into the pits now as Lukey getting past Axelog. Now for P5 on the road, but of course with Lukey's penalty, Axelog will still be the one up ahead of Lukey at the end of the race if it remains the same way that it is at the moment. Craggy now, though, into the DRS of Kieran, so Kieran's now going to be under threat from not just Craggy, but from Marco as well as Curry. He's getting past Barrett. Barrett is still in that pit lane, so that's fine. Jason getting another 3-second time penalty for his troubles in that Alpine, looking to maybe try and go for a move on his cargo as well. Both new drivers, Jason actually returning, I think, from a couple of seasons ago, but we'll see if he's able to make his way past Escargo for P13. Of course, as you say, top 12 are the ones that get points, so unfortunately no points on offer for the pair of them at the moment, but I mean,
unless they get fastest lap,
10 or 11 more laps to go. Yeah, unless they get fastest lap, that's fair enough. There's still another 11 more laps to go, so not all hope is lost in that. In terms of that, I mean, they're only 3.5 seconds behind Berry, who's only just come out of the pits now. So, yeah, anything can sort of happen between them. But I think P2, I think we're going to start to see some moves there, Jess, and I think we could potentially, well, fingers crossed, we don't see what happened a couple of laps ago.
No, let's hope not, please. Otherwise, that could be an absolute disaster. But here we go then. Craggy through turn number 1, now through turn number 2. Nicely done from the Aston Martin. Takes P2 away from Kieran. I think we're starting to see Kieran's tyres starting to give up the ghost, unfortunately. It's a very bold strategy, and fair play to making it work. But he does know that he's got Marco chasing him down. I think his teammate will chase him down very soon. I think if I was Kieran, probably letting your teammate through it if you close in on him is probably the smartest move. There might be some early team orders being made in the Red Bull cap, but we'll have to find out as the race goes on. Malvin and Luke, he's still going strong. And I think everyone else, the gaps are relatively big, apart from if you're Jason trying to get past Escargo. That's going to be an interesting fight going on. We got our pitter, that is Casper. Would it be to retire the car? Nope, he's not. He's holding up the fort. I think he's going to try and go for fastest lap later on, which he will still get a point for that, because getting a point for fastest lap is better than getting no points at all, and he would not want to finish off his end off his finish streak here. So fair play to him for doing so. Kieran, though, he's got Marco right up the gearbox of him. Let's see what he can do. Kieran's got DRS, so that will help him. Kieran's going to try and get past Craggy again, in towards turn number 2. Nicely done from Kieran, back up into second place. What a great drive from Kieran, Craggy and Marco. Marco didn't have anything to respond to these two.
Yeah, no, he definitely doesn't. And I'll tell you what, all of this battling and with Kieran going back in front of the pair of them, it's only really going to help Senna. He's just going to be able to extend his lead even more, especially with Kieran's 20-lap old tyres. I think, if anything, it is just benefiting Senna. So we'll see if Craggy and Marco can maybe make their way back through. But I think Craggy's tyres are going to start to go off. I said it could get a couple more laps, and I think we're already starting to see that crossover point for the Aston Martin. So I think Marco might be eyeing up a move on that Aston Martin out in front of him. But a little bit further back, Malvin picking up another 3-second time penalty, and as I say that, on the back of Lucia, so just going up Variante Alta, but is just going to hold on behind him for now. Luki having a little bit of a squirm through the outer chicane though as well, which might allow Malvin to maybe go for a move. He's sitting on 95% ERS, and as a wise, I don't know if you remember him, as a wise old school once said, if you have any battery left in that tank, if you're sitting on 100%, all you're doing is just losing time because you're not using your battery at all. So if anything, him sitting on 95% on battery, I think, if anything, just going to cost him time. As I say that, though, he's using the overtake.
Oh, look at that.
He's going past Axelot. He's up into 5th position, does Malvin, in the McLaren. Very nicely done. Axelot having a bit of a bad exit out of turn 1 and 2. It's going to allow Luki to maybe try and go for a move as well. Luki now going to try and go down the inside of the second chicane and actually gets the move done. Axelot, unfortunately, conceding not 1 but 2 positions in the space of 5 corners, and now down into 7th position. His only saving grace are the penalties, as Marco and Kieran now side by side of each other. Marco getting a move done on Kieran. Unfortunately for Kieran, he lost the position to Craggy going down in towards turn 1. He's now lost a 2nd position. So just like his teammate, both Red Bulls have just lost 2 positions in the same lap. Not a good look for those guys, but I mean, again, just hitting DRS, and they might try and bounce their way back.
I think they're going to have a big debrief at Milton Keynes, let's just say, on why they lost quite a few positions. And don't forget, their main job is to be the top 3 in the constructors, and I can't remember in the drivers, I think it's top 6. And if they don't do that, they're not going to race in Red Bull next season, and that's not going to be a good luck between these two. As we're on lap 26, not long to go until the end of the race. If you are liking this action, make sure you give it a like on Twitch. If you're watching this back on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell. If you are new, as Marco has got past Craggy up into 3rd, those soft tyres are starting to give up. No, not those soft tyres, those medium tyres, sorry, from Craggy are starting to give up the ghost from him. And is Marco going to do his best to close up on Senna with few laps remaining of this race? Don't forget, Marco, one of our new drivers here at One Hub Racing, and he's definitely making an impression in this league in the P1 tier, as is a lot of our drivers thus far. I'm really torn between who's going to be our driver of the day here, because I think a lot of these drivers have performed so well. Axelot, by the way, is losing a 2nd to Malvin alone, and Luki was fighting with Malvin. Luki's not going to be a happy bunny that he's lost fighting with Malvin just for a second, but he's back in the DRS train now. Let's see what Luki can do, bearing in mind that he's got that 3-second time penalty. If there's a safety car now, the ones with 3-second time penalties or more are going to be screwed, and the likes of Senna, Craggy, Axelot and Lakitu are going to benefit from it.
No, they most certainly will. And I've got to say, I know you're talking about driver of the day just a minute ago. I, in my opinion, I think there's only one person I can really sort of think of at this current moment, but we'll wait until the end of the race if it stays the way that it is, as that's yellow flags. That is one of the Red Bulls. I think that
Mike,
is...
no!
Is that Mike?
That's Mike. That was Mike. Just had a bit of a... or did he let Casper free? Still in 10th, mind. So he had a little bit of a moment, a little bit of a squirm, but I think he's okay. He's got a bit of a gap to the guys around him, so as long as he stays head to toe, he'll be absolutely fine. But for some people, they just want to just keep it on the road, really, and not push too much to avoid getting more pens, and I think that's exactly what Mike is trying to do.
Yeah, no, fair play. So Mike just, he's just trying to maintain his pace at the moment. I know he's happy to stick behind Casper and just, let him run up ahead of him just to try and see if he can maybe follow his line, see what he's doing better than maybe what Mike is, and try and see if he can follow suit with that. But yeah, as I was saying before, I think there's only really one candidate for driver of the day for me so far. But I mean, I suppose again, you've still got another 6 more laps left to go, so we'll see what happens. As there's Cargo now getting a move back done on Jason, up for 13th position. Again, no fastest lap for both of them at this current moment. Yeah, I think if anything, Lakitu now getting a 3-second time penalty as well, just to add to his struggles.
He's usually good with not picking up any penalties, so that is a shame for Lakitu, of course, who with many laps to go, he was on for like a P5, but I think he's only going to be remaining in a P8, unfortunately, unless other people have picked up 6 seconds. Escargo has won a bit wide through 9 in towards turn 10 and 11 of the Variante, Aqua Minerale. There's so many corners around this circuit. As we got Kieran in 4th place. Axelot, I think, is in a very good position to get quite a few positions, but he's got to get a move on because Malvin and Luki once again are chasing him down with those penalties, unfortunately, which is going to be a bit of a shame. But Senna's just driving a remarkable. If you probably noticed, by the way, he's running a Ayrton Senna helmet because, of course, this was the tragic day, 1994, where Senna unfortunately crashed and passed away. So if Senna wins with a Senna tribute helmet, it's going to be, I think, a very special moment for the league and for him in general. It does look very good, to be fair, considering there's not much choice to design helmets on this game, to be fair. And Senna's done a great job so far. But I think the interesting battle here, who's going to get P5? Is it going to be Axelot? It's going to be Malvin? Is it going to be Lukey? I don't think Lakita's going to close up to them. So it's going to be between those lot to see who's going to get those three P5 positions on track, as Entity picks up another 3-second time penalty.
Casper having a spin out of Aquamineral, very unfortunate for him, as Marco now going up around the outside of Craggy up to second position. Kieran might actually even try and follow him. I think he is going to follow him. He does go around the outside of him on those 25 lap old hard tyres. He is still giving the fight up to Craggy. I think Craggy's medium tyres are definitely on the back burner now. 17 laps he's done on those. Kieran done 25 laps, as Marco has a bit of a tank snapper at the end of the first sector. And as I say, Kieran, he's doing a very good job on these hard tyres. Senna is just being allowed to run away. But, I mean, Kieran, he's holding his own on those hard tyres. He's still got 4 more laps left to go, and he's probably hoping that the race can end just any sooner if possible. But yeah, I'll tell you what, you're saying about Axelot with Malvin and Lukey. I think he's more focusing on the guys in front of him. He's only about 4.5 seconds, maybe 5 seconds off of the podium. So he does need to try and close up ahead of those guys in front of him. Even if that maybe means, you know, Malvin or Lukey going in front of him for a lap so he can catch a DRS and just try and shoot off as quick as possible. Just, as I say, extra bit of straight line speed he may need for it. I wouldn't blame him. So we'll see if Axelot can maybe try and get himself within those 3 seconds of the guys up in front of him. But at the moment, it looks like it's Senna's to lose.
Yeah, it is Senna's to lose. He can't bottle this now. I think I've seen many people bottle it on the last lap, as we got Craggy through, passing towards turn 2. Craggy does get past Kieran up into third. He would have got third after penalties anyway, but he wanted to do it on track. He can't afford to lose it now, and he's on for a really fantastic podium, despite the fact he's on 18 lap old medium compounded tyres. Kieran is doing a fantastic job, by the way. His first race also at One Hub Racing on the PC. And speaking from experience, we were going to touch this earlier, but there was so much going on. It is a big jump moving from console to PC, because it's a great track, Imola, to race in on PC, because you can ride the curbs a bit more. The frame rate's better as well, but it's just a hard adjustment, because you got to realise that there's just so much more grip than on console.
Yeah, and where you then don't realise that there's that much more grip, you then tend to go just that bit slower. As weird as it sounds, because you should just be going faster, but you don't, because you think you haven't got as much grip as what you probably could use. So yeah, quite surprising. But yeah, I would have thought, you know, Casper now being on that, as Lukey actually going around the outside of Malvin. Malvin, in fact, playing the DRS game and is going to try and pick himself up some DRS. In fact, Lukey is the one that picks up DRS. So Malvin not playing that one well, as we'll see Lukey probably shoot off ahead of the McLaren now. But yeah, I think it is definitely a massive change when going from PlayStation to console. From PlayStation to PC. And I think, if anything, it gives more benefits than it does cons. So
yeah, definitely. That's why I made the move last season, because I don't know. I think obviously a lot of esports drivers move from console to PC. And we're on cosplay, so it's just like, if you want to do well in the esports scene in general, just make the jump, get a good gaming PC, invest in it. If you have the money, invest in a PC, and you can just gain so much more knowledge as well. But for some people, the console's their life. They don't want to spend full money on a PC, so having a console is probably the best move for them. As Lakita, I'm not used to, Jack, seeing Lakita pick up so many penalties. I'm so used to him keeping it clean. So I think that's just him getting used to the game a little bit, I think, and then he'll be back to his no penalty ways when we head to Jeddah next week, as well on the final lap of One Hub Racing P1 tier for season 26, round number 1. And Senna has just driven faultlessly all race, and nothing can stop him so far. All he's got to do is just bring it home. He could slow it down if he wants to, but let's see. Kieran is going to be 3-1 into turn 2. Kieran, I think, understandably backs out of that, because that could have gone really wrong. Malvin does get past Lukey into P6 for now. This is going to be an interesting fight that unfolds towards the end of that race. Craggy, right, in third place. If I was him, I would just let Kieran through and you would get the position on track anyway, as Kieran trying to heat his tyres a little bit because he's getting a little bit hot right now, which is not ideal. We're on the final few moments of this race, and these 4 drivers are definitely nose to tail to see who's going to get those final spots on track on the podium. Atsock, unfortunately, is not going to close up once more to that, but let's go on board with this man. Senna won this race in P2 last time we were here a couple of seasons ago. Senna wants to win the title. He starts his title campaign as we know he should. Senna wins the opening race in the P1 tier. Congratulations to him. Marco on debut, securing himself a lovely P2, but just on the line, Craggy is going to get P2 because of the penalties on 21 lap old mediums. He's going to be very happy with that. Well done to Kieran for a good 4th place. 29 laps on hards. I don't think I could have done that, to be fair. Great result for Red Bull as well. I think Red Bull will be probably topping the constructors. Malvin in P6 just pits Luke in the end due to that penalty. Lakiti somehow gets 8th even after those penalties. Jonas in 9th, and Mike's going to get points on debut on his return to One Hub Racing in the top tier. I think you'll be happy with that. Bravo, Mike, from one commentator to another one. You scored yourself some points.
Yeah, well done to Mike for that one, and well done to Senna, of course, as they taking the top spot. Nearly 9.5 seconds up ahead of Craggy. It was an amazing battle between Craggy, Marco, and Kieran throughout all of that. But again, Craggy keeping it clean. It just goes to show if you keep it clean, you'll see the results, and it's worked out perfectly for him. Of course, in-game driver of the day shows as Malvin. Again, there's only one pick for me, and we'll get to it very, very shortly. But again, congratulations to Senna for finishing on the top spot. And just to add to that, he also got the fastest lap of the race.
And he got pole, so Grand Slam. Pretty much he got everything.
Yeah.
He got pole, fastest lap, and the win. Maximum points today. He's going to be leading the championship by quite some margin to everybody else. I think I've already said that he's my pick for the title. I'm still going to stick with it. And that's helped him. Hopefully he'll let me see the results. Yes, it does. Thank you very much. So, your race results then from P1. Senna, 16.1 fastest lap like an absolute madman on those older tyres. Fair play to him. 9 seconds over Craggy in P2. Marco on debut in third. And we got Kieran Axelot. Malvin, Lukey, great drive from him after starting 11th. Malvin as well. Those two, I think, could be ones to watch in terms of rivalries. Lakiti in 8th. What could have been for him? He got caught up earlier on, and his strategy was not the best, unfortunately. Let's see how he does in Jeddah next week. Jonas Albrit on his return to One Hub Racing, 18th on the grid to 9th, and I've been Mike from 20th on the grid to 10th. Those two, I think, will be very happy with those results. Then we got Barrett and Curry getting the last points in the finishing positions, but we'll need to find out who's got the fastest lap. And I believe it's Casper. So Casper does get a point, despite the fact being 3 laps down. So, yeah, it just shows if you do not give up, try and go for the fastest lap, you do get some points. So I can understand why you wanted to stay out, even though you would have found it boring. So, Casper, you proved me wrong. You're getting the fastest lap points for it. And your retirements are O'Sheen, M125, Callum on arm due to a disconnect, and then Nick, unfortunately, due to him getting caught up by Callum. And I think they've been having a bit of a chat afterwards, unfortunately. But now, chat, we got to pick our driver of the day, and I know who you're going to pick. You can only go with one driver, couldn't you?
Got to go with one driver, and it's definitely going to be either Spin Mike. Well done to you. No, I'm only kidding. It's going to be Senna. Of course, it's going to be Senna. 9.5 seconds. He dominated the field. He kept out of that collision that had happened between the front runners as well after his pit stop. He played it flawlessly. I don't think you probably could have had a better drive if you tried. So, well done to Senna. Question for him. That crash that had happened in front of you, was that nerve-wracking? And did you then think he was going to end up 9.5 seconds at the end of the race ahead of second place? Or did you think you were going to have a long brawl throughout the entirety of the race?
Good nomination. Good question. This has been very tough between, I think my two picks, obviously we have to go for one, but I'm torn between Craggy and Kieran. Craggy did try and make it 4 wide in one of the safety car restarts, which could have caused that pile-up. So I think without that incident, my driver of the day would have gone to him. But my driver of the day has got to be Kieran. Played that strategy perfectly. His first race on PC, 29 laps on those hard tyres, and still managing to hold off quite a lot of drivers. I think for his first race on PC, he will be incredibly chuffed with that, and with his teammate right behind him, I think Red Bull is going to get some good results in the P1 tier. And my question for him is, congratulations on a great result in your first race on PC. Were you expecting those tyres to hold off to the end of the race there? So those are your 2 picks for driver of the day. Jack, we go to Jeddah next week for round number 2 on the 16th of Feb. Last time we were here, I think it was season 24. That was the only time we raced it on the calendar. Can't remember who won there, to be fair, but it was fun to cover at least. Another race that could cause a little bit of chaos. What do you think of Jeddah?
Love the track. Put it that way. I love racing around that track. I love commentating around that track. I think it's definitely one of the best tracks as an addition onto F1. So I'm very happy as to how all that's going. But I think if Imola has shown what we're going to be seeing throughout the season, I think we're going to have some absolute chaos. And I'm not going to lie to you, Jess, I am absolutely here for it. I don't think the stewards are going to be happy, but I'm absolutely here for it. And I cannot wait to see how it's going to play out this season.
I think the management team are very lucky to have one additional steward this season. There were 3, and there's 4. And I don't think Funky knows what he's going to let himself into, because he's probably going to have to deal with 1,000. Well, I'm over-exaggerating, I've got to admit, but loads of P1 incidents. I think there was quite a few in P2 as well. So the stewards are going to be very, very busy. And some quite decent results from all drivers, I have to say, from the P1 tier. I think it's going to be too close to call, I think. We're going to keep an eye on our predictions throughout the season and let you know if those come to fruition. My pick is still coming true for the title, so that is good. And we're going to make our predictions as it comes as well. But for one final time, a big thank you to all of our sponsors, Next Level Racing, for providing these prizes. Of course, Pure Sim Gear, who are providing some sim racing gloves to the ones who got the combined poles and fastest laps. Well, Senna, I think, is definitely leading that one. Our partners, Vespertina, are providing some lovely merch to the winner of the Going Gets Tough Award. And, of course, our rankings, as well as some merch to our drivers and constructors champions. And also to our partners at SimGrid, who provide our standings and also allow people to sign up without any problem at all. We're going to have a little bit of a lie down, I think, Jack. But I've been Jess Bull. J. Cole's been Jack. We will see you same time next week, 7 p.m. UK time, for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. You can also check Ivor Spin, Mike, and Colin Mason for the P2 tier at 5 p.m. as well. Just before us, we'll see if their races is just as good as well. So, take care, everyone. Have a good evening. We will see you next week. Goodbye.